Hello and welcome to Tread Lightly, the podcast of two dinosaurs talking about books over a nice cup of tea. It's T-Rex and Raptor coming all the way from Germany and Australia to talk to you about today's book, Vampire Academy by Richelle Mead. It's the first book in the Vampire Academy series, which I think is a whole of 6 books.
It is indeed. Shadow-kissed Rose. Yeah. So I bought my copy of the book when the 4th novel was coming out. Because, that's super cool.
I have no idea when that was.
Here, let me bring up the Wikipedia page. Or at least I had the Wikipedia page open. There it is. Publication history. Alright, so the Vampire Academy was released in 2007. The 4th one was released in 2009. That makes sense. I think I got this when we were in high school.
I think I read it in maybe 2013, something like that.
Yeah. So
I think when they announced shooting the movie, I started reading it.
What is it with you and reading the books for movies? Don't you read any book before the movie comes out?
I don't know. I think a lot of the books are actually fine because somebody announces a movie that is based on the book.
I know that there are a couple of books that I have that are going to be made into TV shows because somebody just bought the rights to. Should I be getting you on board with reading those first?
I mean, it depends. I mean, look at The Discovery of Witches. Technically, Warner Brothers bought the rights to that one, had it lying around for 5 years, and then the BBC bought it off them.
Oh, okay. I don't know who
just
bought
buying the rights doesn't always make it a movie.
Okay, somebody started writing a screenplay. Anyway.
Okay.
But, well, I mean, given that we've already touched on the movie, how do we think the movie represented the characters in the book?
I think the movie was actually pretty close to the books for once.
Yeah.
At least the themes are pretty much lined up.
Yeah, and all the main points did too. I
think they even had like direct quotes from the book, which I liked.
Yeah, actually. Which I found more lame when they were said out loud.
Yeah, because they always sound better in your head, don't they?
Yeah, this is a teenage-directed book. I think it's much higher quality than the other teenage books that we've done so far, but it's still a teenage novel. Written for a teenage audience, most probably teenage girls. Okay, are we doing spoilers yet? Should I read the blurb first?
Yes, you go ahead with the blurb.
Alright. Only a true best friend can protect you from your immortal enemies. Lisa Dragomir is a Moroi princess and a mortal vampire with an unbreakable bond to Earth's magic. She must be protected at all times from Strigoi, the fierce and most dangerous vampires, the ones who never die. I'm doing a lot of gesticulating again. The powerful blend of human and vampire blood that flows through Rose Hathaway, Lisa's best friend, makes her a Damphia. Rose is dedicated to a dangerous life of protecting Lisa from the Strigoi, who are hell-bent on making her one of them. After 2 years of illicit freedom, Rose and Lisa are caught and dragged back to St. Vladimir's Academy, hidden in the deep forests of Montana. Rose will continue her Damphia education, and Lisa will go back to being queen of the elite Moroi social scene, and both girls will resume breaking Academy hearts. Fear made Lisa and Rose run away from St. Vladimir's. Inside the Academy's iron gates, their world is even more fraught with danger. Here, cutthroat ranks of Moroi perform unspeakable rituals, and a secretive nature and love of the night creates an enigmatic world full of social complexities. Rose and Lisa must navigate through this dangerous world, confront temptation of forbidden romance, and never once let their guard down, lest the Strigoi make Lisa one of them forever. Okay,
dun 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 dun.
Ooh, feel that coffee.
I mean, once again, the blurb is just way too over the top.
Way too over the top. And also, performing unspeakable rituals?
Yeah, it makes it sound like they're doing blood sacrifices somewhere in the back closet.
Which they do in the movie, but like not in the... They do kind of the Mia and the boys, and they do that thing and write on the walls. Cool. I like this book. I'd probably give it a 3.5 out of 5. Again, it's written for a younger audience, but it's got strong themes. It's well written. Uses simple language. You can really connect with it. And then being a 17-year-old girl who also dated a 24-year-old guy, I think, you know.
You fell for that.
I did fall for that. And now that I'm older, I look back and go, ew. But I was an old soul, I guess.
Yeah, they always are, aren't they?
Yeah, but look, I actually am. How old am I? 50? 60?
I mean,
Who
you're
knows?
just old.
I was born old.
Yes, basically.
Anyway, but she is not an old soul in this book.
No. I mean, there are a
Not
couple of
even a
fucking
little bit.
quotes. No, I did like the books. I think it was a pretty good read, but I don't think I would give it more than 3 stars. I did get the occasional chuckle out of it, which I do like. So I have to say the movie was slightly more cringe, but also made it more funny.
Yeah, and it was literally the best present I've ever bought you, right?
I don't know. My T-Rex suit is probably still on spot 1.
That's just your true skin. I just helped you find your true skin.
Sure. One of the things I actually also liked, the Dumpiers in the books,
Oh, yeah?
which in the books are like the half vampire, half human hybrids. I actually do like that. That's like a real legend that she took from the Balkan folklore, where they had Dumpiers, which were hybrids between vampires and humans.
Well, yeah, Strigoi is the, as we spoke about in The Witcher, it's like the Polish and that kind of regional word for just vampire in general, isn't it? Or blood eater.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is my first contact with any of that kind of like Russian Baltic kind of mythology, and I think it's a really nice introduction to a large extent. You get all of the names and all of the words and with a little bit of context, but it's not too dry. It's a really good way of interweaving all of that. Like,
I mean, also we don't have any. I don't think we have any other like creatures in here, do we? We have like the.
No, we just stick to vampires and their ilk.
Yeah. Which on the one hand makes it all a bit simpler, but sometimes it's also. I don't know.
Well, we have like
do with a bit more.
stages of villains. I feel like we don't need any more creatures. I mean, there's the Psyhounds, but they're just like dogs.
Yeah, and they're mentioned I think once. And that's about it.
There's a couple of times. They're in the beginning and they're in the end. Shall we do a spoilery section now? Is it spoilers time?
Yes, it is spoilers time.
Spoilers! Okay, cool. Just quickly, like relating movie to book. I like the movie casting of everybody except Rose. Because Rose is supposed to be not at all like the Moroi. She's not thin, not white, not anything. She's the skin the color of an almond. Is the quote in the book. She's like a little bit tan, she's been outside in the sun, and the chick who plays her is very white.
True, although...
Oh, and just like in general, as somebody who works out sometimes, none of the characters have any muscle on them. Like, even when we're checking out Dimitri, he's like buff in a duster. And that guy, the actor, is quite buff, but we never see like muscle on anyone. And there's a whole section in the book where she goes about like all the Damphia women who do this job end up with their their skin breaking down and their looks like being broken from them because it's a harsh life. We don't encounter any other female Damphia.
Yeah, it's... I don't know if they ever gave a reason why female Damphias aren't as many either anymore or in general.
They do in the book.
But Yeah, it's definitely strange in the movie that they don't show the muscles, especially since all of these kids have been training at combat and all that since
Rose is training
probably
combat since
kindergarten.
she was 4. Yeah.
Yeah. So they should all probably look more like a mini Hulk.
Yeah. Even if she's been not working out for 2 years.
2 years. Yeah.
You still, like, your muscle mass doesn't degrade immediately. But also none of her classmates are, like, ripped either.
No, the great thing, I think Mason, her best friend, in the movie is like the thinnest, gangliest guy ever.
And he's got a little bit of punch. He's just a little bit punchy. But he's nice. Anyway, okay, so let's talk plot then, shall we?
Yes.
Okay, so the book opens with Lisa having a nightmare.
Yes, which we don't really know yet because we are seeing it through Rose's eyes, I think, or something.
Yeah, so Rose wakes up to Lisa's nightmare. We do pretty much immediately know it's a nightmare and that it's not Rose's. But we don't understand how she's...
having other people's nightmares.
Having somebody else's nightmare. We race to Lisa. Lisa needs to eat and she's a vampire.
Dun dun dun!
But, you know, they couldn't feed off the roommate who was awake. But anyway.
Also, is it ever addressed in the books if they could also drink just animal blood?
No, that's not really addressed in the books.
Because that would be super easy to get from butchers. Especially if you're on the run and hiding, that seems like a better way than just regularly drinking off your best friend. Just saying.
Your guardian. The one who's supposed to protect you from the bad guys.
You have to protect me, but you also have to feed me at your own cost. Sorry.
Yeah. Which kind of is the problem, right, in the opening. But again, they're children. And these are kind of the decisions that children would make.
Yeah, pretty much.
So the opening is that they get captured because Rose is woozy, not up to scratch, and Lisa is starving to a large extent. Yeah,
and they're captured by... Sorry?
They don't eat the roommate. It surprises me.
Yeah, I mean, especially since we later find out that Lisa can, like, mind control people. I'm surprised they haven't...
We find out Lisa can mind control people in that opening scene. She takes the roommate's car keys.
Oh, right. So basically they could have mesmerized somebody to follow them around as a living blood bag.
Yeah.
Oh, people, I mean, I know they're young, but even they should have come up with a questionable idea like that.
They left at 15, so, like...
I mean, they managed to survive outside without knowing anything about living outside.
Yeah.
So you would think they would come up with a couple of not stupid ideas to survive properly.
Yeah. And look, I get it, in a pinch use Rose, but they're well established there in the book. Anyway, so aside from us being very me being very pedantic about that point, they get caught and taken back to the academy. By the
actual, like, guardians of the school.
Yeah.
And here we also get the introduction of Dimitri, the, like, badass guardian who is now assigned to protect Lisa, because Lisa is, like, royalty among the vamps.
Yes, she is the last daughter of the Dragomir line. Actually, the last person of the Dragomir line.
And in the run, I think, to become the next, like, queen.
She definitely has the title of princess, but there is more vampire politics that we don't get to until book 5.
Yeah, but just, like, for context, technically all the, I think, royalty people are kind of in the running for the leadership position.
So you can be king or queen if you're from one of the 12 great Moroi families. Basically.
Yeah. And, I mean, it doesn't come up till later, but I figure it doesn't really matter. Should we get into the whole accident backstory?
Yeah, we can cover that up. I mean, that's what Lisa's nightmare is about, is the accident.
Yeah, so the fact that she's the last one is just because there was a car accident in which I think her brother and her parents died.
Yeah.
And technically also Rose, but Lisa used some super special fancy powers to bring her back from the dead.
Which is where the bond comes from.
Yeah. And that bond is the reason that she can like see her nightmares and sometimes just see through her eyes, which is super creepy.
Yeah, bit of an invasion of privacy. But it also gives
Yes,
us a chance to slip into a third character or a second character's perspective.
Yeah. It's very plot convenient at times.
Yeah. This is listed as a romance book, but this doesn't follow like their traditional trajectory of a romance. This is a real slow build on the romance part of it.
Yeah, that's true. Although I did like that compared to the general, ooh, she's hot. Oh, he's so attractive and charming. They have to love each other now.
I love the running diatribe of being like, and I have a crush on my mentor. Sorry, Mason. Cool. So, they get kidnapped back to school, despite the fact they don't want to be there. And they decide to stick it out.
Also to their school in rural Montana. Like, where do the vampires go for training? Oh, I know. Montana.
Yeah, it's just super secluded and there are a lot of mountains. It makes it hard to run away, but also hard to attack, which I think is the point. The real point, not the hard to run away part. So, Rose only gets to stay at school because Lisa uses compulsion and Dimitri notices that they have the bond, which is the bond. This mystical connection between Guardian and Moroi. There hasn't been one of these in millennia? No, that's too far. Lots of years. Many years. Multiple generations.
Probably a couple of decades.
Decades? No, hundreds of years, at least.
Yeah, okay.
If there was somebody in the last, 50 or 60 years that had the bond, then we would know more about what's going on, and it would be such a, plot point. Because there would be stuff written down about what the fuck's going on between them.
Although we do find a couple of accounts later, really old ones.
Yeah. Really old. Not 50 or 60 years ago.
Yes, it's fine. I mean, we also get that really fucked up scene of them sitting in the headmistress's office, and she's just like, well, you know what, we should just throw you out so you can become a blood whore. And it's just like, okay, woman, who put you in charge of children?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. And blood whore in this context is somebody who has sex and feeds the Moroi partner during intercourse. It is not tonight. It is not a term of endearment, that's for sure. It's about as bad as it sounds.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah, but I think we have Dimitri, standing up for Rose because of that bond, and it's like, well, I'll mentor her, it'll be fine, and then...
Yeah, reluctantly he agrees to mentor her and give her double training so she actually can pass her exams this year.
Yes, and at that part we have one of my favorite quotes in that book, where Dimitri goes she's disrespectful and wild, and she just goes, what, disrespectful? Who the hell are you anyway? Outsourced help?
Yeah.
And the headmistress going, he's her guardian for now, and making it clear that Rose isn't. And Rose just goes, you got cheap foreign labor to protect her. Yeah. Starting the ongoing joke about Dimitri being from Siberia and inherently Russian now.
Yeah, well, he is from Siberia and he is Russian. They call him the Russian god, or at least all the guardians around him do, because he's just amazing in combat and also just pretty damn sexy by the sounds of it.
Yeah, they're definitely putting him up as this is gonna be the romance interest. Look here.
Yeah, he's man meat. It's great. He's also 24. Rose is 17.
Yeah, I mean, they make it out to be such a gigantic age difference.
Yeah, Dimitri has a whole spiel about it later in the book, but yeah. Yeah.
The same age difference if they both were 15 years older would mean literally nothing.
Oh, yeah.
So
for sure, if she was 22, it wouldn't mean anything.
No. But yeah, it's all a bit I like the whole part where Rose goes, he's old enough to be my, well, not anything really.
Yeah. All right, cool. Moving on with the plot, not getting distracted by Dimitri.
By Mead.
Again.
Okay.
All right. So Rose goes into effectively lockdown. She's not allowed to do anything social or have any fun. She just gets to go to classes and extra training. That's literally it. They start school. There are rumors abound about where they went. The pervasive rumor that exists in every girls' school and apparently co-ed school is that she disappeared to have an abortion. That's the
Which
ongoing
is great. It's
rumor.
just, yeah, it's great. It's so close to home.
I mean, did your school have this? We definitely had like 2 kids who like dropped out in year 10 and they were like, oh, they went off to have a baby. And you're like, no, they just went to Tate. Like, they just went to trade school.
Well, we had it the other way around. We had a chick come back in year 10 that had a baby and now came back to school.
Right.
So yes, we kind of had that.
I guess it was less of a rumor then.
Well, she had the actual baby with her one day, so hard to fake that one.
Yeah, all right. We went to school in
and
different places, that's for sure.
Oh, yes. German school system. Yeah. We basically also get the whole school drama here of Lisa used to be, like, on top of the social ladder back in her day, and now she's the weird outsider who came back after running away from school.
Yeah, and she doesn't really want to go back to the way it was, whereas Rose, like, fits straight back in. She's a massive extrovert. And she's flirting with boys and chatting with people, and, like, people stop staring at her less because she's exactly the way that everybody remembers. They have more of an issue with Lisa just because she's not the way she was before. She's not as outgoing.
Also, I do like the whole friendship between Rose and Mason.
Oh, yeah.
Who just went right back to how they used to be. Like that one scene where he's staring at her and she just goes, wipe the drool off your face. It's like, think of me naked on your own time. And he's like, well, I'm leading the session today. And she's like, oh, I think it's your time then. So go ahead and think of me naked. And then somebody in the back shouts, it's always a good time to think about you naked.
Yeah,
and it just sounds like the Dampiers have a lot more fun than the other people do.
The Novice Guardians are a bit of a rougher bunch. They're mostly dudes, and I feel like anybody who's worked in a heavily male-dominated industry, policing and stuff like that, where everybody's a little bit rougher around the edges, I think that's kind of the vibe she's going for with the Dampiers. These are people that work hard jobs, hard labor, and with not a lot of reward. And that's just kind of the attitude that they give off.
I mean, the whole way that Dampiers are described with the whole, they just exist to take care of the Moroi, like the Moroi always come first. It sounds almost close to slavery. It does not sound like a great life. Yeah, and all of the people who decide to not follow the line of we have to create more Dampiers get shunned from society. Yeah,
or I think the biggest drama that we hear about is 2 guardians that run off to be with each other rather than, like, a female guardian has walked away to have a baby, which is relatively common. And the main reason that there aren't a lot of Dampier women is because they do choose to have a family, and that's really hard to do when you're constantly in a combat role, effectively.
Yeah, and also I think for the first couple of books, actually, Dampiers are like sterile, at least with each other.
So the Dampier relationships don't produce children. Dampier humans don't produce children. And,
no, I think they do, Dampiers and humans, but they don't turn out to be Dampier most of the time. They just make more humans.
No, that's not the case at least in the first book. Maybe it changes later. Having just reread it, I made a note of this scene because they went to say that it's only Dampier and Moroi that produce Dampiers. Moroi can have sex with humans, they produce Dampiers. Dampiers can have sex with Moroi, they also produce Dampiers. Humans and Dampiers can't have children, and Dampier can't.
And Moroi and Moroi are necessary to make more Moroi.
Yeah. That's why there are a lot of, like, Moroi men and female Damphiers, and that's why the blood whore thing kind of like sets up, and there's these weird communes that exist, which is what we find out later where Dimitri was raised, where the Moroi men basically just come a-calling.
Yeah, make a couple more Dampiers and then leave after they had their fun.
Yeah, and go back to their Moroi wives and lives. There aren't a lot of Moroi women that would stoop to have the child of a Damphia guy, and they end up kind of just accepting the fact that they'll never have any kids of their own, which is a little bit hard.
Yeah, it just drives home the whole point of Dampiers being a lot lower in the fucking hierarchy than they even see themselves. Like, most of the Dampiers aren't like, well, this is kind of a shit situation. They're like, well, we're doing it for honor and glory and all that shit.
Yeah, it's their job. We must strive for it, you know?
Yeah, it is very culty.
Yeah. Cool. How far did we actually get in the storyline at this point?
Once again, super sidetracked today. Okay. So they're trying to settle back into their old lives. We also get introduced to Lisa's cousin, Natalie, that they now hang around with, since the cool kids don't want to hang around with them anymore.
Well, I think partially, too, they make that as an active choice to hang around with Natalie, because apparently Natalie didn't want to be cool. She was content with her position as a social outsider, and Rose is like, this is good for us, we can be slightly on the outside, but everything is fine. She's nice.
Yeah, and we also get an introduction to Lisa's ex-boyfriend, Aaron,
yeah.
Who's like on top of the ladder with some Mia chick that came out of nowhere to take the hot spot.
Yeah, so Mia seems to have asserted herself into the role that was previously filled by Lisa in their old lives.
Yeah, so good on her. We also get an introduction to Christian, who's like another outsider.
Yeah, he hangs around in a church, so everybody knows he's not bad.
Yeah, there were a couple of questionable character choices.
Again, he's a teenage boy.
Yeah, he's the emo kid, basically.
He is so the emo kid. He always wears black, too. She makes a point of mentioning that.
Yes, multiple times.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So then they do school things for a while. We have quite a few chapters of them being tormented at school, and shit sucks, and Rose having to go through training montages.
Yes, and debating of running away again.
Yeah, and then we get the first kind of like attack on Lisa. It's a cat, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody puts a dead cat in Lisa's room, and Rose is in the middle of training. She's just finished running, like, I'm going to say a very, very long distance. Something in miles, but that units don't mean anything to me. Stupid units.
So I think it was a lesson with Dimitri where she has to run a couple of I don't know. Yes, she has to run a couple of Kennedys or Nixons, or I don't know what do the Americans use.
Stupid units. So
she runs a couple of gallons.
She runs some horsepower and then Lisa proceeds to find this cat attack. Then we see Rose run the fastest gallon of her life as she runs to Lisa. She beats out Dimitri, who's trying to talk to her and ask her what's going on. She's like singularly driven, the most focused he's ever seen. He's like, I don't know what happened, and yeah, just straight to her. And they're like, well, we're not really prepared for violent teenage bullying. We're mostly prepared for an attack from a military group. And
it's great. Right. You have like Dimitri, this like proper fighter who's had like Strigoi kills and everything, and now he's standing there in this fucking like teen drama, and just, for God's sake, we never set up a protocol for bullying.
Yeah.
Which, it's a huge high school. Why did nobody ever set up any guidelines for bullying?
Look, that's because previous to 2007, bullying was just considered like toughening up your kid. It's part of school and life.
I mean, the host require always pretend to be so much better than the entire world. You would think they would have some better social rules at some stage.
No. They think they're better than everyone else because they live by archaic social rules.
Yeah, to some extent, yeah.
That sucks. Yeah, and Rose decides that, you know what, it's been a rough day. I'm ready for some action. So she sneaks out to be with this guy, Jesse.
Yes,
they're gonna have a
Mariah,
strong,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, yes. And they're gonna go and have a canoodle.
At daytime.
Yeah, which is like the middle of the night, because we haven't mentioned this yet, despite we've mentioned literally everything else, that the Moroi schedule is nighttime.
Big surprise. Although, I mean, they don't burn in the sunlight, which is...
They just are not
less
effective.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it like drains their energy or something, right? It's like not
I mean, it's
exactly
like me
healthy.
being out in the sun. It's hard work. Yeah. The sun
Yes.
just hates me.
The sun hates all of us. It gives us cancer. That is not love.
Some people less so.
Yeah, but...
People like me with literally no melanin.
So the sun is racist, basically.
Yeah. I mean, that, or we could get destroyed by an asteroid. Whatever floats your goat.
I mean, one of the deaths is a bit quicker and nicer than the other. So...
Yeah. Surprise! He's an asteroid.
Okay, so... them meeting up, getting into a bit of a canoodle, and I think that's when he's kind of attempting to go for a bite there.
No, he just kind of is kissing her neck, and she reacts like she wants him to bite her because, you know, she's been a blood bag for 2 years, and now she hasn't had that cool bite thing. And the high.
Yeah, apparently being bitten also gives them like a rush.
Yeah, a bit of a high.
So, and that's when he, I think, kind of goes, hold on, you've definitely been bitten before.
Yeah. And then in comes Dimitri.
Oof. Being a huge cock block.
Yeah, huge cock block. And terrifies the living shit out of Jesse, who doesn't say anything.
Because he's a stand-up teenage guy.
Because he just got beat up by a guardian for having a canoodle.
I mean, I think they're also not allowed to do anything at daytime other than sleep.
Yes. No, there's no fraternizing allowed. They have separate dormitories.
Yes. So he gets sent back to his rooms, and Rose is like all lovey-dovey about Dimitri, and I think she's standing there in just her bra going,
yeah, and they have
do you like something you see?
Well, they have the eyes locking moment, and the heat starts to rise, and she's like, him staring at me with this intensity is doing more for me than Jesse's kisses. And then I open my mouth and say something stupid, which is like, do you like what you see? And he's like, put a shirt on, blah, 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 and like walks away. And she's like, you gonna say anything? And he's like, rabble. Which we're like, great, this seems appropriate.
Yeah. And that's when they call the cops and he gets arrested.
No. That does not happen in this book.
Ah, well. I think that's also when Melissa is starting to use a compulsion to get back into social club. She's like, I've got enough of this bullying shit. I'm gonna make them like me again.
We had more bullying first. So there's an incident between Rose and Mia where Rose nearly punches Mia in the face for the things she's saying about Lisa. And then
understandable.
Mia's like, bitch, I'm gonna take you down too. Because teenagers. And
yes.
Then Mia starts spreading rumors that Rose is a blood whore and let Jesse and this other character, Ralphie, sleep with her and drink her blood. And
I mean, that's what she's making everybody believe.
Yeah, that's the rumor that she's spreading. And that kind of hits hard. That makes Rose feel shit. And then there's literally nothing that she can do about it. Kind of, because she's just on probation the whole time. We get a lot of Rose crying at that point, and then Lisa being like, no, you're the strong one, and I'm the weak one, and seeing you cry is like, I can't handle it.
Yeah, fuck, no, I have to be the strong one. Ugh.
Well, less so. She seems to like take on the job pretty willingly, but that means that she ditches her life in hiding with Natalie and Christian, kind of like dumps them both on the curb,
Yeah.
and proceeds to start using her compulsion to get people to be her friend and make Rose cool again.
I mean, which is the typical cliche. You can't have the unpopular friends and the popular friends. You can only have one.
Yeah, which kind of sucks. Yeah. And then more things happen. We get a lot of the transitional moments of like Rose becoming cool again, and then
Yeah, and her realizing that the popularity isn't exactly great for Lisa, because it turns her into a bitch.
yeah, but it's also using the compulsion that turns her into a bitch. So the more she uses this power that Moroi aren't really supposed to be able to use on other Moroi secret things, the more fractured she kind of gets. She gets more fragile and more angry. And Lisa is not considered an angry person at all in this. It's Rose that's the angry and violent and person that lashes out. And it's weird to see this change or this character shift.
Yeah, I mean, Lisa also, as later gets more or less explained, is using this like spirit power or whatever that technically also hasn't been seen for a really long time, because usually the Mirai just like get to use like one of the elements as their main power, and spirit isn't really one of them.
Avatar Last Airbender. Like,
yes, pretty much.
There's earth users and fire benders and water benders and air benders, and united in the middle, there's got to be one person who can use spirit. Yeah, and Lisa is not only a spirit user, she's an incredibly strong spirit user. She has strong control, like, not a major control, but strong control over all of the elements, and also spirit. And spirit kind of, like, ups her ability to use compulsion. But she uses her own spirit when she does this, so she kind of her character starts to deteriorate, because she's using it for bad things.
Yeah. I think there's also the underlying theme of Lisa self-harming.
Yeah, so we get that a little bit later, after the second animal gets put in her room, right?
Yeah. So we have the next attack on her, even though she's now becoming more popular, I think.
Yeah, she gets a dove in her bag, and it's well and truly dead. And we see Rose like make an active effort to stop her going anywhere near it. And we have a couple of people being like pretty much immediately running over to her when she screams about there being a dead dove in her bag. And one of them's Natalie, and one of them is Dimitri, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. Rose is interfering. Blah 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 blah. But
we also get that Sunday service where they talk about like the Saint Vladimir guy,
yes.
and
full of
they're
spirit.
also in this So in the sermon they're talking about how he also could heal people and also suffered from depression.
Yeah, and that animals were drawn to him. Lisa has a real affinity for animals. So their animals are drawn to him. People are drawn to him when he speaks, which they're currently being drawn to Lisa because she's using compulsion to make them cool
and he
again.
also had a guardian, the like Shadow something.
Shadow kissed.
Yes, who also had like a super special bond with him.
Yeah, so that happened.
A lot of similarities there.
Yeah, and Rose is starting to put the pieces together, and she has to go and get some old scrolls, or some translations of some old scrolls, to be like, I need to know more about the primary sources.
So we're getting library montage.
Yeah, a little bit. But Rose hates school, and she really like dwells on these primary sources and the amount of reading she has to do.
Yeah, and she actually gets in somewhat of contact with Christian because he's always hanging around the
old scrolls in the library, in the top of the church.
Yeah.
She gets it through Mason.
Okay. I somehow remember them, like, becoming not really friends, but agreeing on the whole Lisa becoming
That
not
happens next.
great.
Um,
Okay.
So what ends up happening is that everybody's like, Rose is doing such a good job and everything is great. There's a school dance coming up and Lisa wants to go and buy new clothes because she's finally got her stipend allowance back
Yes.
from her parents' estate. So they go shopping, but Rose
Yay.
gets to play guardian and work with Dimitri.
Ooh.
Really intimately in a pair. And she's the close guardian, and Dimitri is the far guardian, and she has to make regular eye contact with him. Ooh. They go shopping. Rose buys a bunch of sensible clothes because she has no winter gear for running around in the snow. And Lisa's like, you need to buy, like, fun things. You need to buy fun things. Picks out this dress. And Rose is like, ooh, that is a nice dress. But, like, I can't hide any weapons in that dress. And I can't try that on. Like, it's not justifiable. And then Lisa goes, well, we're going to buy it anyway. Like, I'm buying it anyway. We really hope that that it fits well because this is your size and I'm buying it. And that's kind of great. They also ogle a necklace that Lisa wants to buy her because it's a rose. And she thinks it's funny to buy rose things.
Yeah, because everybody loves that.
Yeah, oh my god, yep. That sounds great.
It's like necklaces that spell your name.
Yeah.
Who the fuck needs that? Like, do I forget my name if I don't
my
wear
name.
it? Yeah.
Like, the spelling is a
Especially
bit weird, but
because-
I know how it's spelled.
Especially because most necklaces can't actually spell my name.
True. We'll have a race to see who can find their spelling first.
Yeah, sure, it'll end like the keychain one, where it's not even on the fucking thing.
You've
I'm
actually
not
got one that
Elizabeth.
you've got one that actually says T-Rex, and I've got one that actually says Raptor because that's easier to find than our real names.
Oh god, if anybody out there finds dinosaur names on any souvenir stand, let us know.
Send them to us.
This is the dream.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, seeing that.
Yes,
Moving
but
on.
not
Besides
buying it because
fancy
it's like
necklace, super
really
expensive. Super expensive. They get back, and Rose is like, I did such a good job. And Dimitri's like, yeah, you did. And she's like, yeah, I did. And, like, jumps up on a wooden bench and proceeds to fall.
Wait,
Sorry.
we have that great quote in the car on the drive back, where she's like, so, did you see the dress that I got? It was like, yeah, I saw the dress. And she's like, did you like it? And he didn't say anything. And she's like, yeah, I think that means he likes it. And then she goes, am I going to endanger my reputation if I wear that dress? And he goes, you'll endanger the school. And she's just happy and falls asleep.
Yeah, on the long drive back. Yeah, so they get back to school, and then Rose is jumping around on the grandstand, and she falls through one of the beams that's rotted through.
Yeah.
And she, as far as she is aware, passes out. There's a great big snapping sound, and she passes out, and we wake up in the hospital. And she gets the brilliant news that there's nothing wrong with her.
Yeah, even though she's pretty sure that the last thing she saw was bone sticking out.
Oh, at an angle.
Yes.
So we get that, and the doctor's like, I mean, you made a lot of noise, but you're fine. I'd like you not to go to training tomorrow, like do any of the physical training tomorrow. But, like, we'll see how you go.
Basically calling her a drama queen because she's fine.
Yeah, and Dimitri's like, yeah, lots of complaining there for nothing happening. Sorry, let me see if I can find the quote. It was pretty good.
I also like that one quote. I don't know if it was then or actually I think it was further later when he was like, when I saw you fall, and then she goes, you thought, wow, she's a loser?
Yeah.
Just so fucking teenager.
Here, so I've got the... Oh, yeah. So I'm glad you're better, he said. His mouth sounded like it was almost in my hair, just above my ear. When I saw you fall, you thought, whoa, she's a loser. That's not what I thought. He pulled back slightly so he could see me better, but we didn't say anything. His eyes were so dark and deep, I wanted to dive right in. ... Then the doctor arrives.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the doctor's like, oh, you're lucky with all that noise you made coming in here. I thought your foot had to be amputated. Must have just been the shock. That's when she realized that Lisa must have healed her, right?
Yes. Which is kind of weird, though, because it sounds like Dimitri was with her the whole time.
Yeah, pretty much.
So when did that mystery secrecy healing happen?
When she's in the hospital bed.
But it sounds like when she came in, the doctors were already seeing that it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, but Lisa was at her side as soon as they got into the hospital.
So she did it like super sneakily, really fast?
Yeah.
That's convenient.
Yeah, well, I don't think it takes a lot of time. Yeah, she stayed right next to the bed up until the doctor came in. So she had time before the doctor came in.
Okay.
Yeah, and then she's in the chapel attic crying, and she starts cutting. And so he goes...
Yeah. And then I think it's Rose who goes to the headmistress and goes...
She goes to Dimitri first.
Okay. Yeah, so basically she's telling on Lisa in order to protect her and help her, but Lisa is like, you fucking betrayed me, and just makes her unpopular again, and everybody hates her.
Well, she doesn't do it actively. She just starts ignoring Rose, and so does everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, so from there, I think that's when we start talking to Christian kind of more actively, and she tries to figure out what more of the shadow kiss things mean, and she's like, you need to start hanging out with her again. And he's like, I can't, she's Queen Bee again.
Yeah, very, very teenage drama.
So we're only a couple of days away from, when she got injured, we were only a couple of days away from the school dance. And then, I guess, Rose assumes that she's not going anymore, because she's not in Lisa's good graces, and therefore she's probably not in anybody's good graces. But she still gets to go, and Mason comes by and he's like, why are you not ready? Let's go, like, we're gonna have a party. And then she puts on the dress. She wears the dress, she has her hair out like Dimitri likes, like a light little bit of makeup, and the rose that she got as a gift from Victor for having such a good first day as a garden. Yeah, which you're like, oh, that's really sweet. So she's wearing her
way too expensive.
Yeah, way too expensive. She's wearing her rose. She's being Rose. She's hot to trot, boobs on point, and out the door they go. So off to the school dance where Mason gives Rose his gift, which is that Jesse and Raph confess that they spread rumors about Rose because Mia slept with them.
Dum dum dum.
Big surprise.
Because it's very important that Mia being the bad guy here also needs to be a slut, because that is a bad thing.
Well, I think that the more poignant thing is she slept with him while she was still with Aaron. So that hurting Rose and Lisa is more important than staying faithful to her boyfriend who she adores. I think that that's supposed to be the character insight you take rather than...
Yeah, but I don't like the implication of, look, bad guy also sleeps around.
Yeah, I thought it was supposed to be more the cheating that was supposed to take away from it, because like we have both Lisa and Rose are somewhat sexually active in this book, so I don't think there's supposed to be any like slut shaming per se.
Yeah.
I think
let's say we got different vibes out of that one.
Yeah. Did you read it in English?
Yes, actually I did.
Okay. Well then, yeah. Guess it's just interpretation then.
Yeah, but in any case, I think we then have actually Mia like somehow found out that Lisa has depression and
she's cutting
does self-harm and just tells it everybody, so Rose finally gets to punch her and break her nose.
Yeah, and then immediately Rose gets effectively arrested.
Yes, good. I mean, she broke somebody's nose. You would think that the Guardians were like, you probably need a timeout.
Yeah, but it ruins the after party and a bunch of other things, and so everybody has to go back to their rooms. And
Lisa kind of runs away in horror that everybody knows about her now, and...
Yeah, she runs up to the church.
And gets knocked unconscious. Dum, dum,
No,
dum.
we find Christian first. And he's like, what do you think you're doing? And she's like, leave me alone. He's like, I know who you truly are. And she's like, yeah. And then they both then Christian gets attacked, and we see Rose. Rose is in Lisa's mind at the time. because
Yeah.
it's a high stress situation, so she can't like not be in This Is Mine.
She gets
and,
like pulled in.
Yeah. So she sees everything that's going on, and she's like, no, shit, I have to get to Lisa. And she's like, no, I need help. It looks like they were guardians. And so she runs to Dimitri's room. She says, if it's Lisa, come and get me. So she does.
Yeah.
And she gets
Which
there,
turns
knocks on
out
the
to
door.
be a bad idea.
Yeah. So, bad idea or great idea?
Well, all depends on the character's perspective, I would say.
Yeah.
So
he opens the door. He's in his pajama bottoms. He's not wearing a shirt. And
yes, and Rose just looks at him and goes, yummy! I don't think there was an issue.
Yeah, and everything else just kind of falls out of her mind. Particularly when he touches her to try and like shake her, and then things change abruptly from that point onwards.
Yes, also like at the beginning of the whole like she trying to kiss him and he being like, what the hell is going on? Stop that.
Yeah, she's like, I can't remember his mouth, it's too high up. I have to kiss his chest.
And there were a couple of weird quotes in that whole situation. I didn't write them down, but they were so cringy.
Okay, let's see if I can find them.
And yes, and as soon as they actually start to touch, it seems whatever is affecting Rose seems to be affecting Dimitri too,
yeah.
and that's when.
With almost a foot separating us, there was no way I could easily kiss his lips without his help. So instead, I aimed for his chest, wanting to take the warm, smooth skin. Rose, he exclaimed, stepping back. What are you doing? What do you think? I moved towards him again, needing to touch him and kiss him. Are you drunk? Don't I wish. But don't you think I'm pretty? So then he grabs her, and something seized him too, and suddenly made him want me as much as I wanted him. She goes again, do you think I'm pretty? And he regarded me with utter seriousness like he always does. I think you're beautiful. Beautiful? You're so beautiful it hurts me sometimes.
Man, cringy romantic lines.
He takes the dress off, and then, you got rid of the dress fast, I pointed out, between heavy breaths. I thought you liked it. He said, I do like it. His breath was as heavy as mine. I love it. And then he took me to bed.
Yeah, it's very dramatic in a way. But,
yeah.
I mean, teenage romance novels. I mean, what do you expect?
Look, romance novels in general.
Yeah. There's a reason why I don't go for romance novels. It makes me cringe. So.
Look, I enjoy a good romance novel. As long as it's not, like, terrible. Like, I'm a big fan of Nora Roberts. Anyway, moving promptly along.
Yes. So, those two are making out. And, I mean, like... yes, so just before getting to the actual action... Dimitri, takes the necklace off, and it's like, he
realizes there's something going on, right?
Yeah.
And he takes it off, and he steps away from her, and he's, like, drooling with animal passion, and she's, like, groggy and kind of coming out of it, like, what the fuck is going on? Why am I naked? And he's like, and then he touches her again, and she goes back to being like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then he's like, no, clearly this is not consent. And throws the necklace out the window, and she goes, holy shit, what are you doing? That's so expensive. and yes, like, then oh shit, Lisa.
Realizing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, bam, there was some kind of charm on the necklace, and now we're all back on track again.
We're back on track. Back on track. I know my favorite part of that is like she puts the dress back on, and he goes and puts a jumper on her.
Yeah.
Like, no,
I mean, that line is not work appropriate.
Yeah, this is not work appropriate. And then immediately everybody takes it seriously, which I appreciate the fact that she's like, now Lisa has been like kidnapped, something going on, and they go to the chapel and they find Christian who's like unconscious on the floor, and they're like, oh yeah, okay, we're gonna take this seriously. And so they pretty much immediately get in the car and start chasing down Vasilisa.
Which just sounds like Vaseline. Yes,
I haven't made that connection before. All right.
Man, fantasy names, always those fucking names.
Rose and Man meet are chasing down Vaseline. They originally tried to leave Rose at home, but they had discovered that she's like a Vaseline beacon. So they...
Yes, and also, like, why would you leave her behind? She's your best chance not only to find her, but also to know what is exactly going on.
Yeah, well, that's clearly why they take her, but I think they weren't going to take her because she was a student. And they do realize that it was 100% private guardians that kidnapped Lisa, which is really weird. And then we're switching between Rose's perspective in the car and what's going on with Lisa.
Yes.
We start with Vaseline. So Lisa finds out that it's Victor, the uncle that gave Rose the necklace, and
has been just like the nice little old man that is kind of terminally ill.
Yeah, Natalie's father, who's just been like super nice to them, playing a background role, like not really around much, but always like super supportive of all of their decisions. Always takes their problems seriously.
And is terminally ill.
Terminally ill, and he needs Lisa to heal him.
Dum dum dum.
But not just once, because it's a genetic disorder, and the healing won't...
Yeah, like it would come back in order for...
over and over and over again. Yeah. And he was like, nobody would let me have you. And then there would be these ethics committees that got involved about who you got to save and why.
Yeah, especially since it would probably kill her at some stage.
Eventually, it's going to drive her insane.
Yeah, not to mention that his plan is mostly to just keep her somewhere in a dungeon and just go to her whenever he needs healing.
Yeah. But he's like, so do it of your own accord, and then like it's not going to be that big a drama. And she's like, nope. And he's like, Kenneth! Kenneth is our handy-dandy torturing man who tortures her with air. So a lot of breath control stuff and like increasing the pressure around her brain in her skull, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah,
it was it was just a short glimpse into it, but I like the idea of showing what sort of shit you can also do with those elemental powers.
Yeah.
Because you think like, ooh, wow, you can control air, that must be super handy, and then you're like, oh, fuck, you can really torture people with that shit.
Yeah. You know that thing you need to breathe constantly?
Bam!
Yeah. So, funnily enough, Vaseline succumbs to torture and heals Victor. And he's like, woo, diggity dog, look at me go! And they put Lisa in a room and give her some food, but like not really because she's unconscious.
Then we have Rose, I think, finally getting to the scene, and Dimitri being, you gotta stay in the car because this is gonna be handled by the professionals.
Which is fair enough. They're gonna go raid a building. In the meantime, Lisa wakes up and goes, I'm getting out of here. Immediately turns to her guy and is like, looks me in the eye, and he's like, what? And looks her dead in the eyes.
Just real Little Britain kind of style. Look into my eyes, don't look away, don't look anywhere else, just look into my eyes. 1, 2, 3, you're trolls.
Yeah, and she's like, whatever I do, whatever happens, you're not gonna say anything. We cool, mate? We cool, bruh. Alright.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These are not the droids you're looking for. So she starts making her escape.
Yes. Out back, I think.
Yeah, and Rose goes, holy shit, people are coming. You need to stay there. Why is this only a one-way bond? Like, who's coming? Anyway, so she goes to get out of the car and, like, pushes the seat back, and Christian goes, ow! And she's like, Christian, what the fuck are you doing in the car? And he's like, I'm a stowaway, clearly. And she's like, okay, we have to go and get Lisa. And he's like, okay, cool. And don't you dare tell me that. And she's like, oh, yeah. You're coming with me. I'm not telling you to stay in the car.
Teenage rescue mission.
So off they go to find Lisa. And then we realize that all that running, it's done Rose some real good here. Because she keeps leaving Christian in the dust. And he's like, don't wait for me. Go on. She does. Which we're all really grateful for. She gets there just in time for the Psyhounds to start attacking Lisa. So she's fighting a Psyhound off with a branch, and there are two like circling around Lisa. So she's fighting off her Psyhound, and Lisa's about to get snaffled, and Christian comes out of nowhere and lights the thing on fire. No, he lights sorry, that's the movie. He lights one on fire. He's not that good in the book. He lights the log on fire and starts trying to like scare them away with a fire log. And then one of them circles around to the back and attacks Christian from behind. The log goes out. Rose beats her Psyhound to death and starts on the one that's attacking Lisa. And then the other
Christian just gets mauled.
Well, Christian just gets mauled to death. Like, literally. Almost to death. And then the other Guardians rock up. They're the ones who've got weapons. This ends quite quickly now. But then yes. Lisa races over and is like, Christian, no! I don't have the strength! And Rose goes, eat me! And she does. And then she heals Christian, and there's lights and magic, and it's all very pretty, and it's happily ever after.
Yeah. No. I don't... Do the other Guardians actually see
yeah,
the scene? Yes, right?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
I don't think anybody mentions that bit because they're all like, but she saved Christian, so we're just going to keep this on a down low because there is an extra student here, which we didn't think about.
Well, if we tell them about them healing each other, we also have to tell them that we brought half of the teenagers there, so nothing happened.
They start talking about the healing, though, about what Lisa can do and why she was kidnapped. And so that starts coming out, and they start working on a program with the ancient texts, right?
Yeah.
To see if they can get anything. And then Rose goes to see Victor. She kind of gets in because one of the Guardians was there and saw how, like, beat up she was and what she did and how cool she is. They let her in to see Victor. And the line from the movie sticks with me more here. He's like, you've saved the day, you've got the superpowers, and all the little girl wants to know is, does the boy like her? Which is 100% why she goes to visit him. She's like, take this spell off, I can't handle it, I just love him. And he's like, no, that's real feels. I just magnified them.
Ha ha, you caught feelings.
Yeah.
I mean, he basically does the whole James Bond villain. He just goes and rattles on about his evil plan all along.
No, not yet.
I mean, eventually.
Yeah, but we have the weird guttural sounds that are coming from the front of the prison. And we're like, what? And then we turn around and Natalie walks in and like, oh, I didn't think they were letting you see your dad. And she was like, well, they weren't. And then...
But then I killed them and now I am.
Yeah, and then she's like, now I am. And she's got, like, all the signs of having turned into a Strigoi. She lets her dad out, clearly. And he makes his escape. And he goes, try not to kill her. I like that one. Or, like, we could use her later. And she's like, okay, cool. And she's like, Natalie, what did you do? Why? And she's like, because my dad is the chosen one. He's going to bring change. And she's like, and he's going to help me. Make sure that I don't go crazy. And if I do, he's just going to kill me. And it's going to be fine. You're like,
yes, very culty.
Love anyone this much? Yeah, super culty. You're like, this isn't even the same cult that the Damphiers are in.
Too many cults.
Many cults. It's like Tiger King.
So then we have a fight between Rose and Natalie.
And Rose loses.
Which doesn't go well for Rose, no.
But guess who's here to save the day?
Ba-da-da-dum.
It's Man Mead.
Man Mead to the rescue.
Yeah. Oh, and he is godlike in his description. He's like, Rose describes the scene as like, you might be super strong, but if you don't know how to use the strength, it doesn't mean anything. And Dimitri had been training his whole life. And he's just like, bam, 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 bam. And then Natalie's dead.
Yes. Just flat out staking her.
Yeah. And then we get a moment between the two of them, right? Where he's like, why, I love you. And he's like, we can't be together, you're 17. And like, I can't be Lisa's guardian and love you because if there was danger, I would definitely throw myself in front of you instead of in front of her. And that's not my job.
Yes, he's basically going, I'm going to take my job, not you. Bam.
But also, you're 17, and it would be less weird later in life, but, like, we both want to be Lisa's guardian. It's going to be super weird.
Yeah. I mean, also...
Also, he's Russian. He's a Russian into this relationship, that's for sure.
But
that's fine.
But the whole, I do get the whole, like, I can concentrate on my job sort of point, but just because they're not together... wouldn't mean that his feelings would disappear. So even if they're not together, he could still fuck up his job because
Yeah,
he still loves her.
because
Like,
he still loves her.
none of this changes anything. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, but
But
that would make sense
we
and be
ignore
logical.
that.
But this is the
Yeah.
teenage romance book.
Yes, we ignore it for the drama for upcoming books. So
Anyway, but Rose kind of agrees. She later in the epilogue agrees with him, and they go on to do more school.
yes, because it's all about sacrificing one's own life and happiness for the greater Moroi.
Yeah. Duh! And that
Indoctrination.
Yeah, and that is the end of the cultish book 1.
Yes, that's pretty much all it is.
Yeah. And there, as we mentioned earlier, there are 6 books, so this goes on for a while. If anybody cares, they get together, and then they break up, and then they get together again.
So much romance drama.
It is, but the characters age up nicely, and I think their writing
Yeah.
style does age with the characters in the same way like Harry Potter does. Like, it gets more complex, and the characters get more complex as they get older.
Yeah, I have to say I didn't care too much when the whole politics started, but meh.
Yeah, I think it gave you an idea of just how fleshed out that world is for her, though. The author.
Yeah, I mean, she had to do a bit more world building eventually.
Yeah, but like, I enjoyed the novel. It's a really good read. I read it in about 4 hours. It's really light reading.
Yeah, it's definitely something you can read while doing other stuff. It's well written, that's true.
Yeah. It would recommend to any teenage girl or anybody who enjoys a bit of teenage romance, blossoming romance. It's really good escapism in these trying times.
Yeah, also it's not, I mean, there are a couple of cringy lines in there, but it's not too cheesy that you can't read it if you're slightly older than the target group, so.
Oh, yeah. I am quite happy reading this to myself. When I have to read this out to you, dear listener, that's when it gets really cringy and I take on a very odd tone.
That's okay. I think we're allowed to cringe at the cringe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that
Well, I
was
was thinking
Vampire Academy.
It is a big deal. I took advantage of you. No, I said evenly, you didn't. Rose, I'm 7 years older than you. In 10 years that won't mean anything, but for now it's huge. I'm an adult, and you are a child. Ouch, I flinched. Easier if he'd just punched me. You didn't seem to think I was a child when you were all over me. Just because your body, well, that doesn't make you an adult. We're in 2 different places. I've been out in the world. I've been on my own. I've killed, Rose, people, not animals. And you're just starting out. Your life is about homework, clothes, and dances. You think that's all I care about? No, of course not. Not entirely. It's all part of your world. You're still growing up and figuring out who you are, and that's important. You need to keep doing those things. You need to be with boys your own age. I didn't want any boys my own age. I didn't say that. Didn't say anything. Even if it was your choice not to tell, you need to understand that it was a mistake, and it's never going to happen again. Because you're too old for me? Because it isn't responsible? No, because I'm not interested in you in that way. I stared at the message. Rejection came through loud and clear. That bit? Or when in the rescue, there's another bit that I really enjoyed.
Basically what I'm hearing in all of them is the slight background of pedophilia.
It's not pedophilia. She clearly doesn't look like a child.
Well, it doesn't matter if she looks like a child or not. She's definitely illegal.
That's not what that different issue. Pedophilia, though, means an attraction to prepubescence. And she has been through puberty. She has the boobs to prove it.
Yeah, more looking at it from a legal standpoint, I think, than...
What is the age of consent in Montana? It might be 16. You don't know. You don't know their story.
I mean, if it's Montana, it's probably like 13.
Well, that's for marriage, not for sex.
It's somewhere in the rural US. I don't want to know what the fucking consent laws are over there.
Alrighty. Google says it's 16. So there. She's legal. Because she's 17.
But it kind of matters how old the guy is, too.
No,
because a lot of the time...
No, this is Montana.
Oh, God. Fucking America.
Anyway.
Oh, I didn't need to know that.
I agree, it doesn't seem right. Because, as he mentions in the book, they're in 2 different places in life. She is still in school.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's finish this off here before we get into actual pedophilia.
Alright, cool.
Alrighty, well, that was Vampire Academy. Thank you, everybody, for listening and tuning in. Catch our next episode next week on any platform that does the podcasts. And do follow us on Instagram under TRedLightly and Facebook and all the other social medias.
If you want, you can send us an email at treadlightlypod@gmail.com.
Go to our Patreon and tell us what sort of book you want to hear us review next.
Yeah.
And ramble on about.
Pick books that I hate or books that Trex hates, depending on what you want to hear. Or books that you love. See if you can find a book that I haven't read yet.
Catering to all the sadists out there.
Yeah. Alright. Well, we'll see you next week.
Yeah.